Welcome to this course. My name is Syed and I'll be the instructor for this course. In this lesson, I just want to set some expectations for this particular course so you know exactly what you're actually diving into and you're going to get out of this course. The entire objective of this course is to provide solid understanding of different core AWS concepts and also to apply these concepts hands-on so you get to see what you actually understand. So I'm going to demonstrate all of these concepts. And what are these concepts? What are we going to cover in this course? Straightforward. I've designed this course very specifically. In other words, I'm going to walk you through a workflow. In other words, we are going to use big data. We are going to use AWS S3 buckets to store our big data. And that could be unstructured data, structured data, images, anything. AWS S3 is pretty powerful. So after we store the data, before we actually go to our end stage, which is creating data visualizations using QuickSight, but right where your data is, where your data resides, what do we do with it? Well, the next logical step is to actually transform our data to our requirements before we can visualize. If you have a small data set, that's fine. You can actually use the small data sets, maybe 50 records, 100 records or whatever, and then go directly to your visualizations and create charts and graphs. And you've been doing that in maybe Microsoft Power BI or Excel and so on. But here, the concept is that we're now getting into these serverless environments, right? All these services are provided to you, and all you have to worry about is the actual data, and it's sitting there in S3 buckets. So after S3, what do you do with your data? You transform. In other words, you perform operations like extract, transform, and load, which brings us to AWS Glue service, and that's also serverless computing. So this particular AWS Glue service takes your data, sends in a crawler, right, to extract the data as per your requirements. In other words, you're preparing your data before you actually get into analytics, right? So once you prepare data using AWS Glue, another tool that fits or is integrated with AWS Glue is called AWS Athena, and that's a query editor, right? It's also serverless computing. So with AWS Athena, what you're essentially doing is you're taking your AWS Glue, right, where you have your database and your tables, you're querying that information, and that's still part of the data preparation, right? Because when you talk about big data, you're looking at millions and millions of records, right? Maybe 50 million, 100 million records. So you need to only take that part out to create visualizations, because you're not going to, load the entire data set into AWS QuickSight to perform robust visualizations. So therefore, we need the AWS Glue and Athena working together to provide you the necessary data so that you can prepare your data set accordingly based on your requirement or your company's requirement. So AWS Glue and Athena, they work together, right, to provide you a robust data preparation methodology. From there, we get into AWS QuickSight, and that's where all your data visualizations takes place. You can create charts, graphs, you can do stories, you can perform calculations on your data, and you can create dashboards, you can publish dashboards, you can share the information with users across the organization, and much more. So I'm going to demonstrate all of these concepts plus the application. And the idea is for you to gain solid understanding of whatever we understand the entire workflow from your big data set to actually performing data analytics. So I'm going to give you some simple examples as well, how to upload your data using a CSV file, and that too will be covered in this course, along with a few bonus lectures such as connecting to your relational database or setting up your SQL on the back end. I'm going to give you some flavor of this. Keep in mind, this is not an in-depth course, okay? So I'm not going to walk you through in just hours and hours on AWS Glue or Athena, although there could be individual courses, but the objective is fairly straightforward. Give you a solid understanding. So if you're new to AWS environment or if you're an existing AWS user, perfect. This is the right course for you. And I value your feedback, so do provide some feedback. If you find this course valuable, let me know. Post your questions in the discussion area, and that's the best way to learn. I've seen student engagement allows ample learning opportunities for all of us. So thank you for enrolling in this course. I welcome you once again, and let's move to the next lesson.